It's Kevin Williams from the Shore Sports Network, and despite the weather, baseball season is right around the corner. And of course, baseball in the Shore area, and specifically in Ocean County, it also means Toms River South baseball, Coach Ken Frank baseball. Sandy Levine from Sandra Levine Productions has been working on an exciting project that will debut hopefully around the time the snow melts and the weather's nice to start the season, and she joins us here to talk about it. It's an exciting time for you, I guess.
It is a very exciting time for me. Wrapping up.
You have been working on this. First of all, tell us about the project, the inspiration, and when really it all began.
Unbelievably, it began 2 years ago. I ran into Coach Ken Frank, and I really hadn't talked to him much in the past many decades since I graduated from Toms River High School South. And we caught up, and I found out he was still coaching, which I really didn't know. And as you know, I don't follow sports very closely, or I didn't follow sports closely historically. And I just started looking into the fact that he was New Jersey's winningest baseball coach, and I just immediately became inspired to do a documentary about Coach Frank and how he's able to do it.
Our documentaries are nothing new to you.
No, they aren't. I've done several documentaries. My biggest background is working as a television producer for NJN. I worked there for 23 years, and I did a lot of what I would call short documentaries, 5 to 10-minute pieces, and also a bunch of longer documentaries. But documentaries just means that it's a fact-based piece rather than fiction, so they can really be of any length, but this one is going to be about an hour.
Was it a little more challenging because you don't have a great sports background for you than, let's say, I know you did one after the hurricane a few years ago, and of course you lived through that being here, but this was sort of going out of your comfort level a little bit.
Absolutely. Yes, very, very true, Kevin. I didn't know how much I didn't know about baseball, about sports in general, about sports in Toms River and Ocean County and New Jersey, how much sports have changed. I learned a whole lot in 2 years. And that's part of the reason that it took 2 years to do this project. I only intended to shoot one season and work on the writing and the editing. It takes months to do a project like this, many months. So I figured I would wrap it up in less than a year. But after the first season, I didn't feel like I had captured everything I needed. So I shot a second season, and that's how this wound up being a 2-year project.
The name of the documentary is South Baseball, The Spirit of Winning. I assume the first person you talked to when you had this idea was Coach Frank. How receptive was he to the idea?
Another excellent question. Not very receptive. He really didn't want me to do it. He really wasn't comfortable with the attention that it was going to bring. I was surprised because he's been sort of out in the public eye for so many years, and he's been in the newspaper so many times, and I learned he's quite a private person, and he really wasn't comfortable with it. But I sort of talked him into it, and as the production went on, he became a little bit more comfortable with it. But I would say, still to this day, he's a little shy about the whole thing and all the attention, because now that it's almost done and now that it's premiering, it's getting more and more attention. So I think he'll be glad when the premiere is over.
Give us an idea of, in the hour-long documentary, what exactly the focus is. And I know you do talk a little bit about Toms River baseball in general, especially the Little League success and things like that. But what, say, viewer going to see in this 1 hour?
That's another good question, Kevin. You're good at this. You've been doing this for 40 years, so you know what the questions are. It was a challenge for me to limit what I wanted to cover, because I knew of course I did know about the Little League World Series championship in Toms River, and then I got to know more and more about Todd Frazier, and that he went to South, and how he's an inspiration to the South players. So the answer to your question is, the focus is on the culture of South baseball, and that Ken Frank is the winningest baseball coach in New Jersey of all time, and how he's been able to do that. When I first talked to him, and to Mitch Powitz, who of course has been the assistant varsity coach at South for 25 years, they kept talking about the baseball program, and this is how naive I am about sports. I'm like, what did they mean, the baseball program? You know, I thought, you know, you go and you play and you practice, and it wraps up within those months. But actually, the work behind running a high school sports program is almost a year-round thing. There's a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes to get ready, and all kinds of fundraising through the Diamond Club and the practices and the tournaments, and it's just much more involved than I thought. But the focus is on the culture of South baseball and what that means. And what I mean by the culture is it starts from really when the kids are in Little League. There's a competitiveness in Toms River that is sort of bred into the young players. But when they get to South, there's a lot of positive reinforcement that's part of the South program, and that's what I cover.
When you debut this film, which you will on Sunday, April 8th at the Grunin Center at Ocean County College, and in a second we'll talk about tickets and all that, but when you debut this, Toms River South will have started its 41st season under Coach Frank. What impression did you get from him more than anything else about him as a coach and a person?
I got that he really cares about the students. I really got that. It's twofold. He's a complex person. He is very competitive still. He wants to win.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
He wants to win, and the team wants to win, and the players want to win, and they take the game very seriously. They practice hard, and so it's two things. One is he wants to win. Two is he really cares about the players, and he does a lot of things behind the scenes with helping them to get scholarships, with helping them to figure out which college are you going to go to. They're professional scouts. Again, I had no idea. They're professional scouts that come to South baseball games, and I'm sure all high schools where there are really good players. Yeah. So that he wants to win, that he knows so much. And actually, Kevin is interviewed in the documentary, and what you said is actually extremely evident, is that he knows the game so well inside and out. And that's what people say about him all the time, is his knowledge of the game is really incredible.
I think one of the things that also is, and I don't want to use the word unique, but I think separates the program from others, the amount of former players who still have a vested interest, even those who don't even live in the area anymore, and if they are, they come back, they go to a game, and Coach Frank brings them out on the field after the game. The alumni stay very much involved in the program.
And that's one of the first things that comes out in the documentary. There's an alumni game, and some alumni drove from Connecticut and from states even further away, even farther away, that wanted to be a part of it, that are recognized by Coach Frank. The boys all shake hands, and the alumni are honored. And there's a lot of honoring of the past in the South baseball program. So yes, the alumni are very involved, and they continue to follow the team. Like, there are alumni who graduated 35 years ago who can still tell you how the season's going, because they're still following it. All
right, so the difference with a documentary than opposed to a film that we might watch on HBO or go to the movies is nobody's paying to watch it. You have spent the better part of 2 years of your life devoting your energy to putting this together. So let's first start with the premiere on April 8th at the Grunin Center at Ocean County College. And for those who want to go watch it, what can they do?
Very easy. grunincenter.org. I think it's grunincenter.org, and you can order tickets online. They are going pretty fast, so we are expecting the premiere to sell out. It's the tickets are only $5 or the $1.50 surcharge, so they're going fast. I think it's grunincenter.org, so you can order tickets that way. And then eventually it will be broadcast on PBS, most likely throughout the state of New Jersey, but that's still to be set up, and those dates aren't available yet. But yes, the premiere is Sunday, April 8th at 2 p.m.
The sweat equity you have put into this over the past couple of years, you have had a significant group of people who have helped out, sponsors who are important to anyone that knows anything about documentary movies or films. They're not made without sponsors and supporters, and you've had those.
Yes, yes, we've had, I think there are 26 or 7 people and foundations and businesses that have already helped chip in towards the production budget, and I'm very grateful to them. We have an alumni from South who is very generous. The Grunin Foundation has been generous, Pine Belt, Chevrolet, etc. We've had many, many, many sponsors, and we're still trying to finish our fundraising for the complete production budget. There are a lot of expenses right at the end, so if anybody would like to help sponsor the documentary, they can get in touch with me via my website, which is sandralevine.com.
What do you hope when people watch this on April 8th or at a later date, what do you hope they come away with when it's over? For you as the person, the filmmaker who's put it all together, what would you like someone to say to you?
I think it's a human interest story, and it's just a great story. It's got so much heart. You know, I worked in television news for a long time, and I realized very early on I was not cut out to be a hard news reporter. I am a feature producer. That's where my passion is. And this is just a great human interest story. My curiosity was for somebody, when I got the idea to do this, he was coming up on his 40th season as head coach, but he was an assistant and a JV coach for 8 years before that. So you're coming close to 50 years of coaching high school baseball. So I'm always interested in where does that passion come from, where does that drive come from, and so it's just a great human interest story from not only Coach Frank, but the players and the families, and just to watch the baseball. And I got very caught up in their near run for a state title, and it just was very exciting, and it was fun. So I want them to be entertained. I want them to get an insight into where Coach Frank's passion comes from, and that a big part of it is his true desire to help the students and the players become young men and be successful in life. That's really what it's about.
Did he give you any hint about retirement plans?
Not a word. Not a word. He plays that very close to the vest. Now you can't get that out of him.
The most well-known Toms River South alumnus obviously is Todd Frazier, now with the New York Mets, and he is part of this project.
Yes. Yes, he is. I was very fortunate to be able to get an interview with Todd Frazier. At that time, I think he was playing for the White Sox. And then, right?
Yes,
White Sox. And then when he became a New York Yankee, both of our heads almost exploded, right, Kevin? That was just a lot of buzz in town about that. So I captured a lot of that excitement too, and a bunch of people went up to see Todd play. So that's a small part of Todd Frazier being a Yankee in there. And I also have a tiny clip of him being a New York Met. So, but yeah, he's inspirational not only to the South players, but we had a whole busload of little leaguers go up to watch him play at Yankee Stadium. So it's all good. It's all wrapped up in there.
South Baseball, the Spirit of Winning. It debuts April 8th at the Grunin Center at Ocean County College. You can purchase tickets for that. And of course, for more information, you can visit Sandy's website, which is
SandraLevine.com.
It's been fun chatting with you, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for the opportunity. I'll see you April 8th.
You certainly will.
Okay.
Kevin Williams from the Shore Sports Network, stay with us. Thank you very much, everyone.